Early.
Chardon Hey True Crime fans, welcome back to another episode of Chardon Hey True Crime. I'm your host Dakota. With me as always is the lovely Kate.
That's me.
And yeah, we are together tonight. I'm in San Diego on a project. I can't really talk about it right now. But I'm here on a project, which is going to be interesting, that I'm doing tomorrow. I had to get a COVID for it today, which reminds me I have to look up my test results later. Yeah. But
she studied real hard for
that
COVID test.
I got all 19. All of them. But tonight we are going to be finishing up our deep dive. Right there. Yeah. Tonight we are going to be finishing up our deep dive on John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. God, it smells like a Jolly Rancher.
I know.
Oh my God. It's delicious. Her bear fruit essential wine.
Bear fruit.
Bear fruit. I said what I said.
It's not inaccurate.
It is bear fruit. It's fruit.
It has
bears in it.
Bears, beets,
fruit.
Barefoot.
Fruit. Bears, feet, bear fruit. We get stupider the longer we're together. It's true.
I'm also tremendously sleep deprived.
Yeah. What was it you said? I could practically. We went to get food. We went to pick up food, and we're like, we're practically there. I was like, I can almost taste it. And she goes, I could practically, and then just lost it.
Just nope, never mind, and then immediately just dissolved.
Yeah, she laughed for like 5 minutes about that.
Yeah, it was really fucking funny.
Her face was the color of her hair. It was so fucking funny. That too. I do want to apologize tonight because I am on location. I will not be able to show photos and videos this evening, unfortunately, which kind of sucks because I had some good ones lined up. But I will share the videos in our group and on the Chardon Hey True Crime fan page so that people will be able to see interviews of John Wayne Gacy when he was in prison. It is fairly interesting stuff. It really is. And I was really happy that I was able to find these videos. Unfortunately, like I said, I can't share them on the live stream. Also, I'm kind of tripping out how like the light is just like reflecting off my shirt and makes it look like I'm not wearing one.
It's just like so
I swear
direct.
to God, I am like I am wearing a shirt. It's just
her body does not come with a hood.
See, there we go. There.
Yeah, the lighting in here is just very, very direct.
Yeah. Extremely direct.
Oh, well, I didn't just give people. Did you just?
Excuse me. Rude. She's gonna yeet me off the bed.
Yeah, pretty much.
So rude.
We've been super mature this evening.
Oh, absolutely.
We literally had a slap fight.
Yeah, that's a true story. Neither of us won, but it happened.
Yeah, with that, I don't think anybody's really a winner. I think we were both losers in that one.
Yeah, well, I think we're just both losers in general.
Yeah, this is like a general concept.
Yeah. Accurate. Oh, she's sleepy. So sleepy. Wake up, bitch.
You got me in the jaw, like just
Up your god. You okay?
Yeah, go on. I walked right into that one.
Yup.
That was not very COVID friendly at
Nope.
all.
You got at least two of them here. Like we can watch the replay right here.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck. We just get stupider and gayer the more we're together.
That's very true.
Yep.
Next time we're together, it's just gonna be straight up making out.
Yeah. That's what happens. Yeah. It has happened.
Yeah. Fun times
Oh,
all around.
Well, like I said, tonight we are going to be finishing up our episode on John Wayne Gacy, and then I'm excited to announce that next week we are going to be covering the Moores murders. Myra and her husband, remember?
No.
Couples who kill, they're in your list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. Uh-huh. That's the thing. Yeah.
Is that the list on the ground?
Yeah.
Right there.
It's down there on the floor.
You can get it. You had it.
I suppose.
There we go.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right in the armpit.
God. Do you have them on there?
Myra and Brady.
Hey, Myra and Brady, like that sounds familiar, but I don't see them on here.
No. Oh, Ian Brady and Myra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was my fuck up a little bit on that one. I remembered Brady, but I couldn't remember Ian. Genius, I swear.
Yeah.
This wine is like practically the same color as your hair.
I know. Fantastic.
Yeah. That's like the color of Scarlett's hair now. I did her hair last night.
Fun.
She taught me how to like do it like the kind of professional way.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I did that last night, and then like we were checking it out today, and she was like, "Yeah, it looks really good. Doesn't look like you missed any spots." I was like, I'm gonna keep doing her hair tonight though, and she's gonna do mine.
Fun.
And she's gonna shave the back of my head because it's getting too long.
Yeah. So like,
It's practically a pixie.
yeah, practically a pixie.
Practically. Ken says, "Yay, Dakota and Kate! It's been forever.
That's
It's
almost
been,
5 ever.
It's been like 2 weeks, something like that. Like 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
I don't know. Time's fake anyway.
Accurate.
Sure, we'll say it's
Extremely
forever.
accurate. Yeah, forever.
It's practically
It's
forever.
been practically forever. Yeah, it's practically forever." So stupid. Kate's sleep deprived and broken. Kate's broken. I need a new one.
Oh, God.
This
You don't
one's
get
broken.
A new one. You don't get a new one. Your warranty's expired.
God. I have extended warranty. So needy.
Yes. Yes, I am. Like, especially when I'm sleepy, too.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm the clingiest, neediest bitch.
Yep. All right. That,
Are you okay? Did you hear that?
no.
Oh, my neck just, like, ground.
Oh.
That sucks.
Are you okay?
Yeah. That
Oh
just
my
wasn't fun.
God. All right, let's get started though with John Wayne Gacy, part 2. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, you guys.
We're just gonna like make Kate like subconsciously want to watch the Goonies the more we say "Hey, you guys" like that. So
No, see, if you make me watch the Goonies, then all it's just gonna do, it's just gonna make me think of Kelly. It's just gonna make me like want
Yeah.
to do the show and think of Kelly.
exactly.
I'm not gonna want
But
to watch.
I'm gonna make you watch it again. That's the thing that's gonna happen.
So angry.
You're mean about my favorite movie.
I don't criticize it. I just don't enjoy it.
I understand, except you are wrong. Yeah. So yeah, says Ken says the clown saga begins and ends tonight. So she has seen it. She just didn't love it. I love it, and I'm gonna make her love it eventually.
I understand people who like grew up watching it and like being nostalgic about it and enjoying it in that sense. It's like me liking Grease 2. It's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Except the Goonies isn't a terrible movie.
Ew.
I'm fixing your neck.
I know,
Like,
but
calm
it's
down.
tickled. Like you just got like that one spot at the nape of my neck that just
Stop. Kelly says you must love it, and Ken says I forgive you, Kate.
Thank you, Ken.
I don't.
Thank you.
I do not.
That's okay.
I
I'm
don't
validated.
forgive. No, you're not. So, for those of you who don't know, we read Facebook comments while watching the Facebook Live, but there's like a delay, so we're able to see what's happening in the past, basically. Like an instant replay for us.
Oh,
bad.
so great.
All right, let's get going with fucking John Wayne Gacy. So when we left off, John Wayne Gacy had committed his first murder, Timothy McCoy, the young man he'd picked up, slept with, and murdered the next morning in a panic when he saw the young man holding a knife. It was the murder of Timothy that made John realize that he liked to murder and that he got off on it.
Literally.
Timothy's murder was in January of 1972, and the next murder would come 2 years later to the month in January of 1974, which to me is kind of a sick anniversary present to himself, if you ask me. Just,
hey, yeah, it's been 2 years. What should I do? Like, how do I celebrate this? I should do it again.
John, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it again.
John?
Okay.
Okay.
Goes to the bus stop.
Yeah, pretty much.
Does he go to the bus stop?
Well, unfortunately, we don't really know much about the victim as he has remained unidentified. But what we do know is this: Gacy strangled him and then placed the body in his closet before burial. And he later stated that bodily fluids leaked from the victim's mouth and nose, staining his carpet. And as a result, Gacy regularly stuffed cloth rags or their own underwear in the mouths of subsequent victims to prevent this leakage from reoccurring.
Ew. Ugh. Gross.
Body fluids. Body fluids are literally one of my least, I hate them so much. I hate all of that.
It's so gross.
It's disgusting. No. Creeper. I don't trust her. I don't trust her. Now, as Gacy began to explore his sexuality more, he began to get more bold with what he was doing. In 1973, Gacy and a teenage PDM employee traveled to Florida to view property that Gacy had purchased. And on the first night in Florida, Gacy raped the employee in their hotel room. After returning to Chicago, he drove to Gacy's house and beat him up in his yard. And Gacy later told his wife that he had been attacked for refusing to pay the employee for poor quality work. Which just leads me to wonder if, like, she's asking, why is that kid saying, calling you gay and saying fuck you for raping me? Like, what's that about?
Oh, he was just like some punk ass kid. He didn't do a good job, so I didn't pay him. So he's just trying to make me look bad.
So you didn't rape him?
He just didn't do a good job.
Doing what?
Work.
Okay.
What does PDM stand for again?
Painting, design, and maintenance. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember the D.
Yeah. Painting, design, and maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah. It was his construction company that actually did fairly well. He actually made like hell of money doing that. But in May 1975, Gacy hired 15-year-old Anthony Antonucci. And in July of 75, while Anthony's parents were out of town for a weekend, Gacy went to Antonucci's home. Antonucci has stated that Gacy claimed in the neighborhood and that he was just checking on Anthony because he knew that he was home alone and wanted to make sure that he was safe. The two drank a bottle of wine and then watched a heterosexual stag film, which is porn.
A stag film?
That's what they used to call it. Yeah. Because like you'd watch them at like stag parties,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Before Gacy wrestled Anthony to the floor and cuffed his hands behind his back. Now, it's stated that this is how it happened. Anthony actually has a different story for what happened. He claims that Gacy showed him a magic trick where he would handcuff his hands behind his back and then be able to get out of the handcuffs really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Which is something that he did fairly often. He would do that quite a bit where he would handcuff his hands behind his back and then he would get out and he would say, oh, once you have the handcuffs on, you'll be able to figure out how to do it. And then he would handcuff people and they wouldn't be able to figure it out. And they'd be like, what's the trick? And he's just like, haha, there is no trick, bitch. And then he'd like rape them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that sounded like
Familiar.
Yeah. Like the handcuff thing sounded very familiar, but I was like, wait, this doesn't sound familiar.
No. However, Anthony realized that one of the cuffs was slightly loose and he was able to pull his hand out from the cuff, scraping all of the skin off of his knuckles doing so. I know.
Don't like that.
No.
Don't like that. No, sir.
But I think that even Anthony knew that at this point it was a matter of life and death. So he was able to free his hand while Gacy was out of the room. And I'm pretty sure the saving grace in this situation is that when Gacy came back, he kept his hands behind his back to look like he was still cuffed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But when Gacy returned, Anthony, who was a high school wrestler, pounced on him. He wrestled Gacy to the floor, obtained possession of the handcuff key, and managed to cuff Gacy's hands behind his back. And at first, Gacy started threatening him. Then he calmed down and promised to leave if Anthony would remove the handcuffs. Anthony agreed, and Gacy left. He later recounted that Gacy told him, not only are you the first one who got out of the cuffs, you got them on me. He actually said later that that had been a test and that Anthony had passed the test. Yeah. He would say that quite a bit, actually. And that Anthony didn't report it for a long time because he was like, oh, it had just been a test. He's like a 15-year-old kid, you know, he doesn't know, but he's like, oh, I passed the test. Yay, I passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if it had, like, did it, I've already forgotten. Did it just get to the point where, like, he was cuffed and then he left the room? Like, that's
yeah,
as far as it
that's
got?
as far as it got.
Okay. See,
He didn't actually get a chance to try and rape Anthony.
okay.
Yeah.
So, like, with that in mind, I can understand even more why he wouldn't have, like, said anything about
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And he continued to work for Gacy for a while, too.
Great.
Yeah. 1 week after the attempted assault on Anthony on July 31st, 1975, another of Gacy's employees, an 18-year-old from Lombard, Illinois, John Butkovich, disappeared. Butkovich's car was found parked near the corner of Sheridan and Lawrence with his jacket and wallet inside and his keys still in the ignition. And the day before his disappearance, Butkovich had confronted Gacy over 2 weeks outstanding back pay. Butkovich's father, a Yugoslav immigrant, called Gacy, who claimed that he was happy to help search for his son, but was sorry that Butkovich had run away. When questioned by the police, Gacy said that Butkovich and 2 of his friends had arrived at his house demanding the overdue pay, but they had reached a compromise and all 3 had left. Over the following 3 years, Butkovich's parents called police more than 100 times, urging them to investigate Gacy further. But he was a pillar of the community. He was a guy who created jobs for young people, and he was a guy who had just, you know, had everybody fooled, basically.
Yeah. Like, why would he, like, made himself one of those people, like, why would we talk to Gacy about this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why would Gacy do something like this?
Yeah, exactly. And Gacy later admitted to encountering Butkovich exiting his car at the corner of West Lawrence Avenue, waving to attract his attention. According to Gacy, Butkovich approached his car, stating, I want to talk to you. So Gacy invited him into his car and then invited him back to his home and, you know, claimed that he decided to settle on the issue of the overdue wages. At his home, Gacy offered him a drink and then conned him into allowing his wrists to be cuffed behind his back. Gacy later confessed to having sat on the kid's chest for a while before he strangled him. He stowed his body in the garage, intending to bury the body later in the crawl space. When his wife and his stepdaughters returned earlier than expected, Gacy then buried his body under the concrete floor of the garage.
Ooh, that's not a solid plan.
No, not really, no. But at this point, he was also bringing boys home to have sex with in the home, while his wife and stepdaughters were in the home. He had turned his garage into a sick, sort of, for lack of a better term, man cave. I'm sure that the smell in there was just 100% man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man, and then the smell of something kind of gross. Just, they're like rotting meat nearby.
Yeah, right? Just
Yeah.
like man stink.
Ugh. Old cum. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And oh my god, I can't think of the word.
Rotting flesh.
No, like what's what do you call decomposition?
Decomposition. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
God, that was like really difficult.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. So he turned it into the grossest man cave ever, complete with red lights, a mirrored ceiling, a mattress on the floor, and chains bolted into the walls. This was his place, a place his wife knew that she was not welcome and claimed she only ventured in there once or twice, but she tried not to ask questions about this because she didn't want him to know that she'd been in there. However, she must have had some idea of what John was doing because he was not exactly secretive about his sexuality. In fact, he came out to her as bisexual after the couple had sex on Mother's Day that year, and he informed her that that would be the last time they would ever have sex. He began spending most evenings away from home, only to return in the early hours of the morning with the excuse that he had been working late. His wife observed Gacy bringing teenage boys into the garage and found gay pornography and men's wallets and ID cards inside the house. When she confronted Gacy about who these items belonged to, he informed her angrily that it was none of her business.
I mean, the identification card is right in there. Like,
yeah.
Just, can't you read, ma'am?
Goddamn. Poor Carol. I think that's her name. It's Carol, right? I don't remember. Anyway.
Mrs. Gacy.
Poor Mrs. Gacy. God, can you just imagine just, hey, honey, I need to grab something out of the garage?
No.
But we have this.
No.
But
you're not allowed in the garage.
But it's right there.
You're not allowed in the garage.
Why? Oh my god. Okie dokie. Later on the phone with her friends, just, yeah, we ran out of milk like an hour ago, and we have another jug in the garage fridge because it's the Midwest. Everybody's got 2 fridges,
Yeah.
And
I remember when we had 2 refrigerators.
I remember when we did too. Yeah. But just I know that it's in there. I just can't go in there. John won't let me into the garage anymore.
Yeah, honey, that's not milk.
Oh my god, gross. Oh god, I hate you.
I know.
Okay. He was also reported to lay around the bedroom completely naked in plain sight of his wife and masturbate to gay porn while she was in the room. Like, that's just mean. At that point, that's just mean.
Yeah, just like, dude.
She also would find cum-stained silk male underwear in their room, and eventually in October of 1975, following a heated argument where she failed to balance a checkbook correctly, Carol Gacy asked her husband for a divorce. Gacy agreed to his wife's request, although by mutual consent, Carol continued to live at 8213 West Summerdale until February 1976 when she and her daughters moved into their own apartment. 1 month later, on March 2nd, the Gacy's divorce, decreed upon the false grounds of Gacy's infidelity with women, was finalized. Carol agreed to go along with that. He was like, I'll give you a divorce, but like, I don't want everyone to know that I'm sleeping with men. So let's say that I'm sleeping with women. And she's like, you know what? Fine.
Just I'll take it. Just this.
Yeah.
Just I've had enough. You know what? You know what I have had?
What?
It. I have had it.
Carol.
With this.
Carol. Stay out of my garage. Carol. It's my garage.
Well, you know what, sir, Mr. Gacy?
What?
You can keep fucking garage.
Carol. You can take the kids. Carol, we only have daughters, right?
Yes.
Okay, you can have them. Yeah, I don't want those. Sure you don't have any sons anywhere? Like a teenage son, like a strapping 16-year-old? You don't have one of those? It's fine.
You sure we didn't do that? You sure that didn't happen at some point?
Oh no, it was my first wife that I had a son with. That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a son and a daughter with his first wife.
Oh, that's right. I remember the daughter. I forgot the
son. Those poor kids. Those poor fucking kids.
Yeah.
God. Fucking terrible. But at this point in time, John's marriage had gone from not great to non-existent, and he started to pick up more young men to bring home. He often referred to these jaunts as cruising. Gacy committed most of his murders between 1976 and 1978 as he largely lived alone following his divorce, and he would later refer to these years as his cruising years. You know how like old people have cruising years and they just like go on a bunch of cruises and stuff? This is completely different.
I didn't know that was a thing, actually.
Oh yeah, like dude, there's like old people who just like live out the rest of their lives just going on back-to-back cruises. It's wild.
God, I wish that was me.
I wish that was me right now.
Yeah, like I don't want to wait till I'm old to do that. I want to do that shit now.
Yeah, right? Seriously. I mean, as soon as cruises are allowed to do a thing again, I'm gonna save up and go to Alaska.
There you go.
And if they stop in Anchorage, I'm gonna go walk around Anchorage and be like, who can tell me about Robert Hansen? Everyone's just gonna be like, oh God, what is this? The True Crime Carnival Cruise Line? True Crime Cruise Line.
True Crime Carnival Cruise Line.
So fucking stupid.
Yep.
Now, although Gacy remained gregarious and civic-minded, several neighbors noticed erratic changes in his behavior after his 1976 divorce. This included seeing him keeping company with young males, hearing his car arrive or depart in the early hours in the morning, or seeing lights in his home switch on and off in the early hours.
That wasn't already happening?
Yeah. Once Carol took off, it got way worse, I think is the point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One neighbor later recollected that for several years, the sounds of muffled, high-pitched screaming, shouting, and crying had repeatedly wakened her and her son in the early morning hours. They said that the sounds emanated from a house adjacent to theirs on Summerdale Avenue. So apparently none of these sounds decided to ever alerted people to calling the police.
Well, everybody back then was just watching all those horror movies at home. They probably didn't think anything of it, obviously.
I'm
being very, very sarcastic.
Okay, good. Because holy shit, I was just like,
Yeah, no.
Now, 1 month after his divorce was finalized, Gacy abducted and murdered 18-year-old Daryl Sampson. He was last seen alive in Chicago on April 6, 1976. Gacy buried him under the dining room with a section of cloth lodged in his throat. 5 weeks later, on the afternoon of May 14th, 15-year-old Randall Raffett disappeared while walking home from Senn High School. He died of asphyxiation. Gacy buried his body in the crawl space. Hours after Gacy abducted Raffett, 14-year-old Samuel Stapleton vanished as he walked home from his sister's apartment. Investigators later stated they believed both victims were murdered on the same evening. Now, here is a, I don't want to say fun fact.
Interesting fact?
Yeah, here's an interesting fact about Gacy and the way that he buried the bodies. So he would do this thing where if he buried two people on the same day, he would bury them in the same grave, but everyone else got their own graves. So like if he buried two in one day, or if he killed two in one day, those two were buried together. And if he killed one on one day, that person was buried on their own.
Well, that's just pure laziness.
I think it's more like I did this on this day and I did this on this day and I did these on this day, you know? So it's sort of like a way for him to like remember the crimes, in my opinion.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So on June 3rd, you good?
Yeah, I had like a hair that hit my foot.
Oh, that's weird. So on June 3rd, Gacy killed a 17-year-old Lakeview teenager named Michael Bonin. He disappeared while traveling from Chicago to Waukegan, Illinois. These fucking Midwest names.
Fucking Chicago.
Gacy murdered a 16-year-old Upton youth named William Carroll and buried him in a common grave in the crawl space. Carroll seems to have been the first of 4 victims known to have been murdered between June 13th and August 6th, 1976. 3 were between the ages of 16 and 17 years old, and 1 unidentified murder victim appears to have been an adult, by which I mean probably 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18 or 19.
Yeah.
Adult in the most technical of senses.
Yeah, no kidding. Gacy picked up 18-year-old David Cram as the teenager hitchhiked on Elston Avenue on July 26, 1976. Gacy offered him a job with PDM, and he began working for the firm the same evening. On August 21st, Cram moved into the house. Gacy's house. He moved in with Gacy. I mean, he was a hitchhiker, so. But the following day, Gacy, dressed as Pogo the Clown, conned Cram into donning handcuffs.
Oh, God.
Cram was drunk, and Gacy handcuffed him with his wrists in front of his body. Gacy swung Cram around while holding the chain linking from the cuffs and said that he intended to rape him. Cram then kicked Gacy in the face and freed himself from the handcuffs. A month later, Gacy appeared at Cram's bedroom door intending to rape him again, stating, "Dave, you really don't know who I am. Maybe it would be good if you gave me what I want." You don't know who I am. You don't know who I am.
You don't know who
Maybe
I
it'd be
am.
good if you give me what I want.
Yeah.
Cram resisted, straddling Gacy, who left the bedroom stating, You ain't no fun." Cram soon moved out and left PDM, although he did periodically work for Gacy over the following 2 years. On August 5th, a 16-year-old Minnesota youth named James Hackinson is last known to have phoned his family. Gacy murdered and buried him in the crawl space beneath the body of a 17-year-old Bennsville, Illinois youth named Rick Johnston, who was last seen alive on August 6th. Gacy is thought to have murdered 2 further unidentified males between August and October 1976. And on October 24th, Gacy abducted and killed teenage friends Kenneth Parker and Michael Marino. The 2 were last seen outside a restaurant on Clark Street in Chicago. 2 days later, a 19-year-old construction worker, William Bundy, disappeared after informing his family he was to attend a party. Bundy died of suffocation, and Gacy buried the body beneath his master bedroom. Apparently, he also had worked for Gacy.
He was just like a fucking flypaper for
Teenagers.
Yeah.
Teenage boys, yeah. In December 1976, another PDM employee, 17-year-old Gregory Godzik, disappeared. His girlfriend last saw him outside of her house after he had driven her home following a date. Godzik had worked directly for PDM for only 3 weeks before he disappeared. He had informed his family that Gacy had him dig trenches for some kind of drain tiles in his crawl space.
Bold.
Godzik's car was later found abandoned in Niles, Illinois. His parents and older sister Eugenia contacted Gacy about Godzik's disappearance, and Gacy claimed that he had run away from home, having indicated before his disappearance that he wished to do so. Gacy also claimed to have received an answering machine message from Godzik shortly after he had disappeared, and when asked if he could play back the message to the parents, Gacy said that he had erased it. On January 20th, 1977, John Cizik, a 19-year-old acquaintance of Butkovich, Godzik, and Gacy, disappeared. Cizik was lured to Gacy's home on the pretext of selling his Plymouth Satellite to Gacy, who later sold Cizik's car to Michael Rossi for $300. Cizik had recently purchased new license plates for his car, and his final paycheck remained with his employer. Between 1970, that's it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It just hit wrong.
yeesh, that's the worst. So this is a good question from Kelly. Bundy, any relation to Ted Bundy? Actually, no, it's no relation to Ted Bundy, but these kills are happening around the same time that Ted Bundy is doing his own killing. So it is a funny little coincidence there.
I was actually thinking that too, but like I just kind of like added it up in my head. And I was like, I don't know what the odds are of him actually being related to Ted Bundy.
Yeah, right. What would happen if one serial killer killed a family member of another serial killer? It's like a sitcom misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your favorite. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
Oh, well, I mean, now I'm gonna kill someone in your family, dude.
You can kill my ex-wife. She's a bitch.
Yeah, she's not technically in your family. I'll kill one of her kids. Is that okay? Like that would technically be like your like step kid.
Is the wife with the 2 daughters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Cool.
I only like boys. Yeah.
Do you have any boys? Would it hit you harder if I killed your son?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen my son in like years, so I don't really care.
All right, I'll figure it out. I'll get back to you.
Yeah. I mean, you mostly like killing girls anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I do.
You know what? My first ex-wife has long, straight brown hair.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
Mm-hmm. She's a bitch. She lives in Iowa.
All right. I think I might need to take a detour to Iowa.
Have fun.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
All right,
buddy.
bud. Yeah. Sorry about your cousin there. If it makes you feel better, he was gay.
Oh God. Yeah. Probably for the best then.
Yeah. How oh, you're asking how I know he was gay? I had sex with him to find out if he was gay or not.
Oh, that's how. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like a queer baiter.
Yeah. Definitely.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. Kelly doesn't like our improv, apparently.
Apparently.
Wow.
So ungrateful.
Wow. You're getting a whole free improv show right now. You're welcome. So stupid.
Oh, you're gonna be cool.
I have poor circulation.
That's fine.
Okay. Oh, good. I'm basically a vampire. Oh my god. Oh, Kelly says, I love it actually. Okay, good. Glad. Because it's not going away. Yeah, no, never. You good?
Yeah. You good?
No. No, but stop. Fucking terrifying. Human touch makes me uncomfortable. No. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Between December 1976 and March 1977, it is known that Gacy killed an unidentified adult male. He buried this victim in the crawl space beneath the body of 20-year-old Michigan native named John Prestige, who had disappeared on March 15th. Shortly after his disappearance, Prestige has mentioned to acquaintances that he had obtained work with a local contractor. No cause of death could be determined for Prestige, and Gacy buried him in the northeast section of the crawl space directly beneath the room that he used as his office. Here's something that I'm kind of curious about. Like, all these people are going missing. Like, all these teenagers are going missing and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And, like, do you think the cops ever really think about, like, what do these victims all have in common?
Of course they don't. Of course they don't think about that.
Just, they all work for the same guy and they're all dead. Like, there's some poor rookie that's just sort of like, hey, do you think that, like, did you notice that all these guys work for the same guy? So do you think we should go talk to the guy?
Why?
Because all of the victims worked for him.
Who was this guy?
John Wayne Gacy?
Oh, okay, rookie. Yeah, no. We're not going to check in. We know John Wayne Gacy. Like,
but I mean, all of these kids that have gone missing, they all worked for him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He hires kids that are in high school so they can earn a paycheck.
Okay, but hear me out. What if he's killing them?
Why would John Wayne Gacy kill teenagers?
Maybe he's secretly gay and is having sex with them and then kills them to keep them quiet.
No. Oh, okay, rookie. Now you're just reaching.
I don't think that I am. I think that this is something that we should really look into.
All right. I mean, no, but all right, I hear you. I hear that you want to do that, but we're not going to do that.
But what if we did?
Then we'd be wasting time, and it would be your fault.
Okay. Poor rookie. The only person who knows what he's talking about. So Gacy continued murdering. He murdered an additional unidentified person and buried him in the crawl space in the spring of early summer of 1977. The exact time of this murder is unknown, but on July 5th, Gacy killed a 19-year-old from Crystal Lake, Illinois, named Matthew Bowman. Bowman's mother last saw him at a suburban train station. That following month, Michael Rossi was already arrested for stealing gasoline from a service station while driving John Cizik's car. The attendant noticed the license plate number, and the police traced the car to Gacy's house. When questioned, Gacy told officers that Cizik had sold the car to him in February, saying that he needed money to leave town. A check on the VIN number confirmed the car had belonged to Cizik, and the police did not pursue the matter further, although they did inform Cizik's mother that her son had sold the car to Gacy in February, which Scamods?
Oh God, it's
State
county offender municipal. No.
State, county, municipal
offender
data
system. I had the right word. I just had it in the wrong order.
Yep.
I did
Scoms. All right. So they definitely had scamods. So by the end of 1977, it's known that Gacy had murdered 6 more young men between the ages of 16 and 21. The first of these victims was 18-year-old Robert Gilroy, the son of a Chicago police sergeant who was last seen alive on September 15th.
Ballsy.
Seriously.
Damn.
That rookie's just like, sir, your son has gone missing. Do you think we should check in on this Gacy guy?
Rookie, we're not talking to Gacy. We're not wasting our resources and time to talk to Gacy.
Okay, so where do you think your son is?
We're just blowing off steam. You know how kids do.
Okay, but what if Gacy knows where he's blowing off steam?
Why would Gacy know? He's just his boss.
Maybe he said something at work?
Nah, probably not.
Do you think we should check?
Nah. We should ask the kids at the school. We should ask, like, high school kids. They would know.
Okay. All right. Well, all the high school kids said that the last person he was seen with was Gacy.
They know more than they're saying.
Okay.
Poor
Poor
hypothetical rookie.
Poor rookie. So Gilroy lived just 4 blocks from Gacy. 4 blocks. However, he was murdered and buried beneath a crawl space, and on September 12th, Gacy had flown to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to supervise a remodel project and did not return to Chicago until September 16th. Now, because Gacy is known to have been in another state at the time that Gilroy was last seen, this is cited to support Gacy's claim of being assisted by one or more accomplices in several homicides. 10 days later, 19-year-old former U.S. Marine John Mulry disappeared after leaving his mother's house to walk to his apartment. Gacy strangled Mulry and buried his body beneath the master bedroom.
At 19 years old, and you're already old enough to be a former U.S. Marine. That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I know, right? This is the 70s, so he was probably able to like enlist when he was like 15.
Yeah, or like at least like 17.
Yeah, at least. But actually, there is a really interesting thing about Gacy and his employees. One of his employees actually ended up being part of the Ripper Crew, who was a group of murderers later in life. So there's definitely a very good possibility that you know he didn't kill that guy. Yeah. Just saying, that's something that we should talk about. And I think we will do a continuation of Gacy episode as a Patreon episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll continue to talk about that theory on Patreon. So if you are interested in checking out our Patreon and you're not already a subscriber, check it out at patreon.com/Dakota's Beard. You can check out our bonus episodes. You can check out our Cryptid Week series. Oh God, that series was hell.
Yeah.
That series
It
changed
was a very
us.
special level of hell that was just for us.
It was.
And our Patreon subscribers.
Like I said, patreon.com/Dakota's Beard. Enter that special level of hell with us. So, on October 17th, 21-year-old Minnesota native Russell Nelson disappeared. He was last seen outside a Chicago bar. Nelson was looking for contracting work, and Gacy murdered him and buried him beneath the guest bedroom. Less than 4 weeks later, Gacy murdered 16-year-old Kalamazoo, Michigan teenager Robert Winch and buried him in the crawl space. On November 18th, 20-year-old father of one, Tommy Bowling, disappeared after leaving a Chicago bar. 3 weeks after the murder of Tommy Bowling, on December 9th, a 19-year-old U.S. Marine named David Telsma disappeared after informing his mother that he was going to attend a rock concert in Hammond, Illinois. Gacy strangled Telsma with a ligature and buried him in the crawl space close to the body of John Mulry. On December 30th, Gacy abducted 19-year-old student Robert Donnelly from a Chicago bus stop at gunpoint. Gacy drove him to his home where he raped, tortured, and repeatedly dunked Donnelly's head into a bathtub until he passed out. Gacy taunted him with statements such as, "Aren't we playing fun games?" Donnelly later testified at Gacy's trial that he was in such pain that he asked Gacy to kill him. Gacy replied,
I'm getting around to it. Fuck.
after several hours, Gacy drove Donnelly to his workplace and released him, warning him that if he complained to the police, they would never believe him. Donnelly reported the assault, and police questioned Gacy on January 6th, my birthday, 1978. So, yeah. Gacy admitted to having had a sex slave relationship with Donnelly, but insisted that everything was consensual, adding that he didn't pay the kid the money he promised him. The police believed him and filed no charges. You know that rookie, that rookie comes in and he's just like, all right, Sarge, I got it. I got the dirt on Gacy. He raped a kid.
Rookie.
He raped him.
Rookie.
He dunked his head under the bathtub. He knocked him out. He raped him. I got the kid. He's saying so in the interrogation room right now.
Okay, that doesn't prove anything.
But he said that he raped him.
Okay, anyone can say that. It doesn't mean it happened.
But
And this kid's alive. This kid's alive. And Gacy was the one doing it. And you think that Gacy's the reason all these kids are disappearing. That kid should be dead.
okay, sure. But also, Gacy is having gay sex with people because he had sex with that guy.
Says who?
That guy?
Did you even bother to ask Gacy about it yourself?
Actually, yeah, I did. He said that he had sex with him. Get off camera. There you go. Yeah, no, he said that he had sex with him. He said that they had a sex slave relationship. And that it was consensual. It was consensual.
That's not a crime.
I mean, but, and then he said that he didn't pay the kid money that he asked for to have that relationship with him.
Oh God, he's paying for gay sex. Oh no, he's not paying for gay sex. So nothing illegal about that.
I mean, I do want to, I mean, yeah, Donnelly's 19, but Gacy's like in his 30s. So.
They're both adults.
Yeah, but also Gacy's like, he isn't doing good things to these kids.
What do you think is wrong with?
Well, Donnelly says that he was raped.
You ever think maybe you can't just have sex with somebody and then regret it and say that it's rape?
Is this because your wife said that about you the other day?
Watch your fucking mouth, rookie.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna go make coffee. So the following month, Gacy killed 19-year-old William Kindred, who disappeared on February 16th after telling his fiancée, who knew Gacy, that he was to spend the evening in a bar. Kindred was the final victim that Gacy buried in his crawl space. On March 21st, Gacy lured 26-year-old Jeffrey Ringel into his car. On entering the car, Gacy chloroformed the young man and drove him to the house on Summerdale, where his arms and head were restrained in a pillory device affixed to the ceiling.
Pillory?
I can't explain it, so I'll show you a picture. It's not cool. Damn it. Fucking thing. like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
So
that's to the ceiling?
yeah, it's kind of like the stalks, but a little bit different. But yes, Gacy raped and tortured Ringel with various instruments, including lit candles and whips, and repeatedly chloroformed him into unconsciousness. He then drove him to Chicago's Lincoln Park, where he was dumped unconscious but alive. However, he was later informed that the chloroform had permanently damaged his liver.
That was what I was thinking. Like being chloroformed like that much, like that's gonna do some serious like permanent damage.
Yeah, to the liver apparently.
Yeah, like that, I wouldn't have expected the liver, but
I mean, the liver filters out toxins from the system, so
yeah,
that much
true.
chloroform, it would be, toxin in the system, and it would, fuck them up.
That's true.
So, Ringel managed to stagger to his girlfriend's apartment, and police were informed of the assault, but again, did not investigate Gacy. Ringel was able to recall through the haze of the night the Oldsmobile, the Kennedy Expressway, and particular side streets. He and his two friends staked out the Cumberland exit of the expressway, and in April, Ringel saw the Oldsmobile, which he and his friends followed to 8213 West Summerdale. Police finally obtained an arrest warrant, and Gacy was arrested on July 15th, and he faced trial for battery against Ringel. I swear to God, that rookie is just like, so Sarge, I have something to tell you.
And he's like, I swear to God, rookie.
I went over your head. I went to the commissioner's office and I told him about this and about Gacy, and there's an arrest warrant for him now. You son of a bitch. Listen, let's just hear what he has to say, okay? I know that that's what you have to say, but let's hear what Gacy has to say about this. Okay, but also do your job. The commissioner said so. Not me.
Like the assertiveness and then the chicken shit.
Yeah. Do your job. The commissioner said so.
Chief.
Or sergeant, not chief.
What? Oh.
So, okay, but we need to finish the show.
I know.
We still have a couple more pages to go. So, by 78, the crawl space had no room for further bodies. And Gacy later confessed to the police that he had considered stowing bodies in the attic initially, but worried about complications arising from excessive leakage.
Like, you were gonna stuff them with rags. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, if you just like stick a rag in each end, I'm sure it'll be okay. Kate doesn't like that idea.
Ew.
Like a human Molotov cocktail.
I was literally that. Oh no! You don't stick one in both ends of them. Like Molotov, there's only one end to a Molotov cocktail.
I'm aware. Yeah, that's true.
The acid.
Yeah, exactly. See, because this is the head and then this is the butt, and that's why they say bottoms up when you take a drink. Bottom. Bottoms up.
That doesn't even make sense.
I know. What, I can't be stupid too sometimes?
That's what I bring to the show.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. Here you go. Yeah. Apparently, I'm not allowed to be stupid on the show. So, he decided to dispose of his victims on the I-55 bridge into the Des Plaines River. Gacy stated that he had thrown 5 bodies into the river in 1978, and he believed that one had landed on a passing barge because only 4 bodies were ever found. I personally like to believe that some kid who just read Frankenstein found one of those bodies and was just like, oh boy, I get to try.
Unless, of course, the body literally just got up and walked away.
You never know. Maybe they weren't dead. Just yeeted them into the river, and they woke up and they're like, "Oh fuck, it's cold. I'm out of here." So the first known victim from the I-55 bridge into the river was 20-year-old Timothy O'Rourke. Gacy killed him in mid-June, and after he had left his body in his Dover Street apartment to purchase cigarettes. Shortly before his disappearance, he told his roommate that a contractor on the northwest side had offered him a job. On November 4th, Gacy killed 19-year-old Frank Landingen. That's the name.
What is he landing in?
His naked body was found in the Des Plaines River in Channahon, Illinois. Are you okay?
Yeah, this is so obvious, so it was really dumb.
So on November 24th, a 20-year-old Elmwood Park, Illinois resident, James Mazzara, disappeared after sharing Thanksgiving dinner with his family. He informed his sister Annette that he was working in the construction industry and doing all right. He was last seen alive walking in the direction of Bughouse Square carrying a suitcase.
What a name for a square.
Yeah, right? Seriously. On the afternoon of December 11th, 1978, Gacy visited the Nilsson Pharmacy in Des Plaines, Illinois, to discuss a potential remodeling deal with the store owner, Phil Torf. While he was within earshot of a 15-year-old part-time employee, Robert Priest, Gacy mentioned his firm often hired teenage boys starting at a wage of $5 per hour, almost double the pay. Peist, thank you. Robert Peist. Yeah, Peist earned at the pharmacy. Shortly after Gacy left the pharmacy, Peist's mother arrived at the store to drive her son home so that the family could celebrate her 46th birthday together. Peist asked his mother to wait, adding that some contractor wants to talk to me about a job. He left the store at 9 p.m., promising to return shortly. Peist was murdered shortly after 10 p.m. at Gacy's home. Gacy later stated that at his house, he asked Peist whether there was anything he wouldn't do for the right price. Peist replied that he did not mind working hard. In response, Gacy stated good money could be earned by hustling, although Peist was dismissive of this statement. Gacy then duped Peist into donning the handcuffs before saying, "I'm going to rape you and you can't do anything about it," as Peist began weeping. He also stated that as he placed the tourniquet around Peist's neck, the boy was crying and scared. Gacy admitted to having received a phone call from a business acquaintance as Peist lay dying, suffocating on his bedroom floor. Yeah. When Peist failed to return, his family filed a missing persons report with the Des Plaines police. With the Des Plaines police. Torf named Gacy as the contractor Peist had most likely left the store to talk to a job about. Lieutenant Joseph Kosniak, whose son attended Maine West High School like Peist, chose to investigate Gacy further. Finally, someone is helping that poor rookie out. That lieutenant just like comes in and you know the rookie is just like paperwork up to here, just like
he's got a notebook that's just like scribbled phone, like John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
John Wayne Gacy.
That lieutenant's just sort of like, "Hey, what's going on, kiddo?" And the guy's just like,
I'm just trying to do my paperwork.
Everybody makes me do all of their paperwork because of the time that I got John Wayne Gacy arrested.
Wait, who did you say?
John Wayne Gacy.
You got him arrested?
Yes, sir. You need me to do your paperwork?
I would like to shake your hand, son.
Okay. Having
Okay.
Having spoken with Peist's mother on the morning of December 12th, Kosniak became convinced that Peist had not run away from home. A routine check of Gacy's criminal background revealed that he had an outstanding battery charge against him in Chicago, and he had served a prison sentence in Iowa for the sodomy of a 15-year-old boy.
What a wild concept. When you look into somebody's past, you find out about their past.
Their past.
Wild.
Bam. Oh, God, in your nose. I'm sorry. You did the poo. I was just like, dang. Delayed reaction.
Yeah. And also you missed.
Did I hit your nose or your eye?
You didn't even really hit me. You got my nose.
I brushed it.
Yeah, just like
okay. Now, Kosniak and 2 Des Plaines police officers visited Gacy at his home the following evening. Gacy indicated that he had seen two youths working at the pharmacy, and he had asked one of them, who he believed to be Peist, whether there were any remodeling materials behind the store. He was adamant, however, that he had not offered Peist a job, and he had only returned to the pharmacy shortly after 8 p.m. as he had left his appointment book in the store. Gacy promised to come to the station later that evening to make a statement confirming this, indicating he was unable to do so at this moment as his uncle had just died. When questioned as to how soon he could come to the police station, he responded,
wow. Fucking wow. You guys are very rude. Don't you have any respect for the dead? Wow. The audacity.
He's a white man.
The Caucasian audacity.
The caucasity.
Caucasity.
The caucasity.
Ow.
So, at 3:20 a.m., 3:20 in the fucking morning, Gacy arrived at the police station covered in mud, claiming that he had been involved in a car accident. He had been in a minor traffic accident en route to his appointment with the Des Plaines officers after disposing of Peist's body. His vehicle had slid off an ice-covered road, and he had attempted to free the vehicle himself without success before it had to be towed from its location. On returning to the police station later that day, Gacy denied any involvement in Peist's disappearance, and he repeated that he had not offered him a job. When asked why he returned to the pharmacy, Gacy reiterated that he had done so in response to a phone call from Torf informing him that he had left his appointment book at the store. Detectives, however, had already spoken with Torf, who denied calling Gacy. At the request of detectives, Gacy prepared a written statement detailing his movements on December 11th. Suspecting that Gacy might be holding Peist against his will at his home, the police obtained a warrant to search Gacy's house on December 13th. The search of Gacy's property revealed several suspicious items. Wow, I can talk, I swear. Including several police badges and a 6mm Beretta.
Brevetata.
I don't know guns.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Brevetata.
Sounds like
Starter pistol inside an office drawer, and a syringe and a hypodermic needle inside a cabinet in Gacy's bedroom.
Brevetata sounds like a pasta or like.
It really
Like some
does.
sort of, like,
Oh yeah,
some,
I'll
like,
have
sort of
I'll have the garlic brevetata thing.
Yeah. Or,
Yeah.
or it sounds like some sort of like antipasto.
Yeah. Oh, Rookie, aren't you so glad that we decided to take you out for dinner at the Olive Garden?
Yeah. So bruschetta for you,
Yeah.
brevetata for me.
Yeah. And then she'll have the AK-47. But make it a half plate because she's little, you know. She's just not going to eat it all.
You know, it just doesn't keep well.
No.
It's
And
not
don't
good.
put any sauce on it. Just put butter on it. Just butter and salt. That's it. If I see any sauce on that plate, I am going to be calling the Olive Garden. I'm going to call the boss of the Olive Garden.
Call him the CEO of the Olive Garden.
The Olive Garden. Yes.
Olive Garden.
Yeah. So inside Inside the home, investigators also found handcuffs, books on homosexuality, 7 pornographic films, capsules of amyl nitrate, and an 18-inch dildo in Gacy's bedroom.
That's ambition right there.
A 39-inch 2x4 with 2 holes drilled into each end, bottles of Valium and atropine, and several driver's licenses were found in the northwest bedroom. A blue hooded parka was found atop a toolbox inside the laundry room, and underwear too small to fit Gacy was located inside a bathroom closet. In the northwest bedroom, investigators found a Maine West High School ring, but the ring was not Heist's. The ring was a class of 1975 ring engraved with the initials JAS. Investigators also recovered a photo receipt from Nelson Pharmacy from a trash can, along with a 36-inch section of nylon rope. The Des Plaines police confiscated Gacy's Oldsmobile and other PDM work vehicles. Police assigned 2 two-man surveillance teams to monitor Gacy on a rotational 12-hour basis as they continued their investigation into his background and potential involvement in Peist's disappearance. These surveillance teams consisted of Officer Mike Albright, David Hashmeister, Ronald Robinson, and Robert Schultz. No. We talked about Ronald Reagan in the last episode. The following day, investigators received a phone call from Michael Rossi, who informed the investigators of Gregory Godzik's disappearance and of the fact that another PDM employee, Charles Hatula, had been found drowned in an Illinois river earlier that year.
Pure coincidence.
I know that it's Hatula, but I almost wrote Hatata. Just because, like, I do that sometimes. Like, I'll just be like, Hatata. Yeah. You know that.
We know words.
Yeah.
We know letters.
Yeah. We're writers.
I was literally just about to say that. Like, I was about to say it as I was looking at you.
I didn't even know you were looking at me. So on December 15th, the investigators obtained further details of Gacy's battery charge, learning the complainant, Jeffrey Ringnall, had reported that Gacy had lured him into his car, then chloroformed, raped, and tortured him before dumping him with severe chest and facial burns and rectal bleeding.
Oh, that's a bad time. That's bad. That's real bad.
You know that rookie's just like, hey, Sarge, remember me? The rookie? Remember me? Hey.
I've never seen you before in my life.
Oh, that's really funny because John Wayne Gacy's been under surveillance. So maybe I was actually right about him.
I don't know anything about John Wayne Gacy.
Oh, well, that's really funny because I know a lot about John Wayne Gacy now, and he's under surveillance. And also, remember that rape victim that you wouldn't talk to? Yeah, so here's pictures of his bleeding butt. Enjoy. I'm happy for our hypothetical rookie.
I know, right? Vindication.
Our little hypothetical rookie.
Look at him. He's getting what he deserves.
Yep.
He deserves to be like
and
seriously.
And he got to go to the Olive Garden.
Had a nice plate of bruschetta.
So stop. In an interview with Gacy's former wife, that same day, they learned of the disappearance of John Butkovich. The same day as that, the Maine West High School ring was traced to John Allen Cizik. An interview with Cizik's mother revealed that separate items from her son's apartment were also missing, including a Motorola TV set. So I guess before they made crappy phones, they made crappy TVs, I'm guessing. Is it a flip TV? Like those Motorola flip phones?
Yeah.
So by December 16th, Gacy was becoming affable with the surveillance detectives, regularly inviting them to join him for meals in restaurants and occasionally for drinks in bars or at his home. He repeatedly denied that he had anything to do with Pice's disappearance and accused the officers of harassing him because of his political connections or because of his recreational drug use. Knowing that these officers were unlikely to arrest him on anything trivial, he taunted them by flouting traffic laws and succeeded in losing his pursuers on more than one occasion. That afternoon, Cram consented to a police interview in which he described Gacy's open-minded attitude regarding sex between males and his workaholic lifestyle. Cram also divulged on one occasion, because of his poor timekeeping, Gacy had given him a watch, explaining that he had obtained the item from a dead person.
Who says that? Who admits that?
Gacy.
Clearly.
While the police detail was getting friendly with Gacy, there was another team that was thoroughly investigating him. They brought in body-sniffing dogs and had them search the cars, and when the dogs lay down in the back seat of the Oldsmobile, they knew that they had a positive reaction to the scent of a dead body and that Gacy had transported a dead body in the back seat of his Oldsmobile.
How different does a dead body smell?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you train a dog to pick up the scent of a dead body?
It's like training them to pick up the scent of drugs.
I mean, I guess, but like
so when you die, your body starts to release like gases and other things that like you just don't really have, like that aren't you don't smell when you're alive.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, your organs start to break down really quickly. I'll go into all of that later. I'll do an episode where I talk about the breakdown of the human body on Patreon, because I took forensic science for 3 years in high school and I still remember all of that shit. But yes, they're called cadaver dogs. Yes. Thank you, Callie. Yeah.
Body sniffing dog doesn't have quite the same to it.
I literally took that from an article.
I know, but still, it's just like body sniffing, like just kind of like, I feel like that could mean like bathe or yeah. You're right, my stink gland is weak. Smell.
Now, by December 18th, Gacy was beginning to show visible signs of strain from the constant surveillance. He was unshaven, looked tired, and appeared anxious, and was drinking heavily. That afternoon, he drove to his lawyer's office to prepare a $750,000 civil suit against the Des Plaines police, demanding that they cease their surveillance. The same day, the serial number of the Nilsson Pharmacy photo receipt found in Gacy's kitchen was traced to 17-year-old Kim Byers, a colleague of Pice at the Nilsson Pharmacy. Byers admitted when contacted in person the following day that she had worn the jacket on December 11th to shield herself from the cold. She had placed the receipt inside the parka pocket just before she gave the coat to Pice as he left the store, claiming a contractor wanted to speak with him. This revelation contradicted Gacy's previous statements that he had no contact with Robert Pice on the evening of December 11th. The same evening, Michael Rossi was interviewed a second time. On this occasion, he was more cooperative. He informed detectives that in the summer of 1977, at Gacy's behest, he had spread 10 bags of lime in the crawl space of Gacy's home.
Like limestone? Or...
It's the lime that breaks down bodies.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. On December 19th, investigators began compiling evidence for a second search warrant for Gacy's house. The same day, Gacy's lawyers filed the civil suit against the police. The hearing for the suit was scheduled for December 22nd. That afternoon, Gacy invited the surveillance detectives into his house again. On this occasion, an Officer Robinson distracted Gacy with conversation, and Officer Schultz walked into Gacy's bedroom in an unsuccessful attempt to write down any serial numbers on the Motorola TV set they suspected belonged to John Cizik. While flushing Gacy's toilet, the officer noticed a smell he suspected that could be of rotting corpses emanating from a heating duct.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, is this that house? I feel like this is that house.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So The officers who had searched Gacy's house previously had failed to notice this, as on that occasion, the house had been cold. So he had his heat on in the house while he was in the house, and because the heat was on and circulating from the basement, it was picking up the smell of death.
Gross.
Yeah. Oh God, imagine what that garage smelled like now.
I don't really want it, but that's okay. That's okay.
Investigators interviewed both David Cram and Michael Rossi on December 20th, and Rossi had agreed to be interviewed in relation to his possible links with John Cizik, as well as the disappearance of Robert Peist. While interviewed by Kosniak as to where he believed Gacy had placed Peist's body, Rossi What the fuck just happened?
I tried to scratch my nose and I poked myself in the eye.
Back up here. I was just gonna pull you up. Stop hitting me.
Pickles.
Here, wait, here. There. Better?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
I pull you. Will you calm down? I was just like, like that. Jesus Christ. You are bright red. Oh my God.
It's fine. I'm fine.
Are you dying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 25 now. Yeah, I'm dying.
I'll put you in the crawl space.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, when questioned as to where he believed Gacy had placed Peist's body, Rossi replied, in the crawl space. He could have put them in the crawl space. A polygraph test showed his responses to the questions to be inconclusive. However, he agreed to subsequent visual tests in which a map of Cook County was divided into 12 grid sections, number 1 to 12. With Gacy's home marked in the 4th section, they noted an extreme increase in Rossi's blood pressure when they asked, is the body of Robert Peist buried in grid number 4? After hearing this question, Rossi refused to continue the polygraph questioning. However, he did further discuss the trench digging he did in the crawl space and remarked on Gacy's insistence that he not deviate from where he was instructed to dig. Cram informed investigators of Gacy's attempt to rape him in 1976. He stated that after he and Gacy had returned to his home after the December 13th search of his property, Gacy turned pale after seeing a clod of mud on his carpet, which he suspected had come from his crawl space. Cram said that Gacy grabbed a flashlight and immediately entered into the crawl space to look for evidence of digging. When asked whether he had been to the crawl space, Cram replied that he had been only once, when he had been asked by Gacy to spread lime down there, and he had also dug trenches, which Gacy had explained were for drainage pipes. Cram stated that these trenches were 2 feet wide and 6 feet deep, 6 feet long and 2 feet deep, the size of graves. Very shallow graves.
Yeah.
2 feet, that's barely enough to cover a body. So on the evening of December 20th, Gacy drove to his lawyer's office in Park Ridge, Illinois, to attend a scheduled meeting obstinately to discuss the progress of his civil suit. Upon his arrival, Gacy appeared disheveled and immediately asked for an alcoholic drink, whereupon Sam Armonite fetched a bottle of whiskey from his car. On his return, he asked Gacy what he had to discuss with him. Gacy picked up a copy of the Daily Herald from the desk, pointed to the front page article covering the disappearance of Robert Peist, and said, "This boy's dead. He's in a river." Over the following hours, Gacy gave a rambling confession that ran into the early hours of the following morning. He began by informing Amaranth and Stevens that he had been the judge, jury, and executioner of many, many people, and now he just wanted to be the same for himself. He said he had buried most of his victims in his crawl space, and he had disposed of 5 other bodies in the Des Plaines River. Gacy dismissed his victims as male prostitutes, hustlers, and liars, to whom he gave the rope trick, occasionally adding that he awoke to find dead, strangled kids on his floor with their hands cuffed behind their back. He had buried their bodies in his crawl space as he believed that they were his property. As a result of the alcohol he consumed, Gacy fell asleep midway through his confession. The lawyers immediately arranged a psychiatric appointment for Gacy at 9 a.m. that morning. And upon waking several hours later, Gacy simply shook his head when informed that he had confessed to killing 30 people, saying, "Well, I can't think about this right now. I've got things to do." Ignoring his lawyer's advice regarding his scheduled appointment, Gacy left their office to attend to the needs of his business. Gacy then later recollected his memories of that final day of freedom as being hazy, adding that he knew his arrest was inevitable and that in his final hours of freedom, he intended to visit his friends and say his farewells. After leaving his lawyer's office, Gacy drove to a Shell station where, in the course of refilling his rental car, he handed a small bag of cannabis to the attendant, Lance Jacobson. Jacobson immediately handed the bag to the surveillance officers. Remember those guys? The guys that are constantly tailing Gacy? Mm-hmm. Adding that Gacy told him, "The end is coming for me. These guys are going to kill me." Gacy then drove to the home of a fellow contractor, Ronald Rode. Gacy hugged Rode before bursting into tears, saying, oh God, I don't like that. You say it.
Oh God.
Say it in the most pathetic voice you can.
I've been a bad boy. I killed 30 people, give or take of you.
I imagine that is exactly what Gacy sounded like.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. That's not cool. It's yucky. That's a whole yucky. Whole entire yucky. Ugh. Oh boy. Now Gacy left Rode and drove to David Cram's house to meet with Cram and Rosie. As he drove along the expressway, the surveillance officers noted that he was holding a rosary to his chin, praying while he drove. Armed with a signed search warrant, police and evidence technicians drove to Gacy's home. On their arrival, officers found Gacy had unplugged his sump pump, flooding the crawl space with water. To clear it, they simply replaced the plug and waited for the water to drain. After it had done so, evidence technician Daniel Genty entered the 28 by 38 foot crawl space. You good? Did you breathe wrong?
I don't know what happened. That was weird.
Do you need my inhaler?
Maybe later.
Okay.
Mine's still
All right. They entered the crawl space, crawled to the southwest area, and began digging. Within minutes, he had uncovered putrefied flesh and human arm bone. Genty immediately shouted to the investigators that they could charge Gacy with murder. He then added, "I think this place is full of kids." Yeah.
Oh, obviously this whole thing is morbid, but that specifically is just like such a morbid thing.
Yeah, it is. Actually, it didn't quite happen immediately like that. So what happened was after he found that, he started like taking out the bones and everything, and he remembers like pulling out a rib cage, and like it was so wet down there that he was just like digging through mud and like pulling out like pieces and stuff.
Yeah.
And then later he was like digging through that mud, like after they pulled out that first rib cage, and he found another rib cage. And that's when he was just like, "Oh, fuck me. There's so many bodies down here. There's more than one." And that's when they started to realize just the true extent of how many bodies were in John Wayne Gacy's crawl space. Mm-hmm. So that first victim was too decomposed to be piced. As the body was later unearthed, a crime scene technician discovered the skull of a second victim alongside his body. Later excavations of the feet of the second victim revealed a further skull beneath that body. Because of this, technicians returned to the trench where the first body was unearthed, discovering the ribcage of a fourth victim within the crawl space, confirming the scale of the murders. After being informed that the police had found human remains in his crawl space and that he would now face murder charges, Gacy told officers he wanted to clear the air, adding that he had known his arrest was inevitable since the previous evening, which he had spent on the couch in his lawyer's office. In the early hours of December 22nd, and in the presence of his lawyers, Gacy provided a formal statement in which he confessed to murdering approximately 30 young men. all of whom he said had entered his house willingly. Some victims were referred to by name, but Gacy claimed not to know or remember most of the names. He also claimed that they were all teenage male runaways or male prostitutes, the majority of whom he had buried in his crawl space. Gacy claimed to have only dug 5 of the victims' graves in this location, and that he had his employees, including Gregory Godzik, dig the remaining trenches so that he would have graves available. One victim hailed from Round Lake, Illinois, and another had been a Michigan native. When shown a driver's license issued to a Robert Haston, which had been found on his property, Gacy claimed not to know him, but admitted that this license had been in the possession of one of his victims. In January 1979, he planned to conceal the corpses even further by covering the entire crawl space with concrete. When questioned specifically about Heist, Gacy confessed to strangling him at his house on the evening of December 11th after luring him there. He also admitted to have slept alongside Heist's body that evening before disposing of the corpse in the Des Plaines River in the early hours of December 13th. On his way to the police station, he had again been in that car accident, and it's the fucking balls.
Yeah, right?
The
Seriously.
fucking balls. So, accompanied by his police and by the police and his lawyers, Gacy was driven subsequently to the spot on the I-55 bridge where he had confessed to having thrown Heist's Landigans, every time with that name.
It's a weird name.
Mm-hmm. Landigans and 3 other victims' bodies in the Des Plaines River in that summer. Gacy was then taken to his house and instructed to mask his garage floor with orange spray paint to show where he had buried the individual he supposedly killed in self-defense, whom Gacy named as John Butkovich. But we know that that's not true.
That doesn't sound right.
No, that was Timothy McCoy. Yeah. So even Gacy doesn't know who he killed and for what reason. Fucking idiot.
How do you keep track at that point?
I guess, but still, 33 kills. Yeah, how do you fucking keep track? Oh.
33 arrests. No conviction.
On March 11th, final arguments by both prosecution and defense attorneys began. They concluded the following day. Prosecuting attorney Terry Sullivan spoke first, outlining Gacy's history of abusing youths and the testimony of his efforts to avoid detection and describing his surviving victims, Voorhees and Donnelly, as living dead. Referring to Gacy as the worst of all murderers, Sullivan stated, John Gacy has accounted for more human devastation than many earthly catastrophes, but the one must tremble. I tremble when I think about just how close he came to getting away with it all. After the state's 4-hour closing, counsel Sam, Amarant. Sam Amarant spoke for the defense. Amarant argued that the testimony delivered by doctors who had testified for the prosecution, repeatedly citing the testimony of the 4 psychiatrists and psychologists who had testified on the behalf of the defense. Amarant also accused Sullivan of scarcely referring to the evidence presented throughout the trial in his own closing argument and of arousing hatred against his client. The defense lawyer attempted to portray Gacy as a man driven by compulsions he was unable to control, contending the state had not yet met their burden of proving Gacy sane beyond a reasonable doubt. More victims of Gacy's sexual assaults came forward, and on March 12th, closing arguments were made. At the close of his argument, the prosecution removed photos of Gacy's 22 identified victims from a display board and asked the jury not to show sympathy, but to show justice. They then asked the jury to show the same sympathy this man showed when he took the lives and put them there, before throwing the stack of photos into the opening of the trap door from Gacy's crawl space. So they literally cut out the trap door from the floor of Gacy's house and brought it into court. Yeah.
We love a dramatic moment.
We do. After the prosecutor finished his testimony, the jury retired to consider their verdict. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours and found Gacy guilty of the 33 charges of murder for which he had been tried. He also found guilty of sexual assault and taking indecent liberties with a child, both convictions in reference to Robert Peist. The conviction for 33 murders was then the largest number for one individual in U.S. history. In the sentencing phase of the trial, the jury deliberated for more than 2 hours before sentencing Gacy to death for each murder committed after the state of Illinois statute on capital punishment came into effect in June 1977. His execution was set for June 2nd, 1980. On being sentenced, Gacy was transferred to the Menard Correctional Center in Chester, Illinois, where he remained incarcerated on death row for 14 years. Before his trial, Gacy initiated contact with WLS TV journalist Russ Ewing, to whom he granted numerous interviews between 1979 and 1981. Ewing later collaborated with author Tim Cahill to publish the book Buried Dreams. Later, the information Gacy divulged to Ewing would prove instrumental in establishing the identity of his first victim. On February 15, 1983, Henry Grisman, a fellow death row inmate known as the I-57 killer, stabbed Gacy in the upper arm with a sharpened wire. At the time of the attack, Gacy was participating in a voluntary work program. A second death row inmate injured on the attack, William Jones, received a superficial stab wound in the head. Both received treatment in the prison hospital for their wounds. Just like, I'm just going to stab everyone on death row.
They're going to die anyway. May as well stab them.
Stabbity stab, stab, stab.
Oh no, a gunman. Oh, I'm going to stab you.
On the morning of May 9th, 1994, Gacy was transferred from the Correctional Center to Stateville Correctional Center in Crest Hill, Illinois, to be executed. That afternoon, he was allowed a private picnic on the prison grounds with his family. For his last meal, Gacy ordered a bucket of KFC, a dozen fried shrimp, French fries, fresh strawberries, and a Diet Coke.
God, you're about to die and you go with a Diet Coke?
Yeah, right? Seriously, just fucking go for a regular Coke, man. Fuck.
Gross.
Seriously, you're gonna die anyway. You may as well just go for the fucking name brand.
Right? Seriously, like go big or go home. Like
I'm with you with the fried shrimp and the KFC and the strawberries, like all of that. I'm 100% with you there, bro. But like,
if you're gonna splurge, get regular Coke.
So I figured out my menu for my last day. You ready, cards? Okay. So I want a bucket of KFC.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And I would like 12 fried shrimp, please.
All right. 1 dozen fried shrimp.
Yep. And then I will have French fries.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Let's throw some fruit in there. How about some fresh strawberries?
Ooh, all right. Yeah.
And should I get something to drink? Coke or Pepsi products?
Coke.
You know what? I'll go with a Diet Coke.
Diet Coke?
Yeah, I like the way that fake sugar tastes.
Yeah, I still want to watch my calories.
Yeah, that's like so many calories in like one day. Like, you guys are the ones that are gonna have to carry my dead body.
Shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. Yeah.
That's exactly how it happened.
Exactly how it happened. We have the transcripts. We do not have the transcripts. The transcripts do not exist. Now, before the execution began, the chemicals used to effect the execution solidified unexpectedly, clogging the IV tube used to administer the chemicals into Gacy's arm, complicating the procedure. Blinds covering the window through which witnesses observed the execution were drawn, and the execution team replaced the clogged tube to complete the procedure. After 10 minutes, the blinds were reopened and the execution resumed. The entire procedure took 18 minutes. Anesthesiologists blamed the problem on the prison officials' inexperience at conducting an execution, stating that they had the correct execution procedures, and if they had been followed, the complications would have never occurred. The error apparently led to Illinois adopting an alternative method of lethal injection. And on this subject, one prosecutor at Gacy's trial, William Kunkel, said he got a much easier death than any of his victims.
Can you imagine like being
having the name Kunkel?
Well, like, can you imagine being like a witness to this execution, and at one point they're just kind of like, "We'll be back after these messages."
They like shove out some poor prison, like, you know, some new like guard working at the prison. He's just like, "So how about that prison food, huh?"
I was thinking airline food.
So how about that prison food, huh? How do they get such small flavors out of such a big kitchen? Just like looks over at another guard, and the other guard's just like, "You're doing great." Oh, okay.
Anybody like juggling?
Anybody a fan of impressions? Here's my impression of future President George W. Bush.
Oh my god.
Anybody seen Seinfeld lately? The show about nothing. Anyone catch that last episode of Seinfeld?
How about the Yankees?
Someone, we're in Chicago, you son of a bitch!
I'm sorry! Crumble. I legitimately just couldn't remember the Cubs for a second, so I just said Yankees.
But like honestly, that is the most Chicago reaction. We're in Chicago, you son of a bitch! So according to published report, are you okay?
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm good. Please continue.
She broke. We broke Kate again. According to published reports, Gacy was a diagnosed psychopath who did not express any remorse for his crimes. His final statement to his lawyers before his execution was that killing him would not compensate for the loss of others and that the state was murdering him. His final spoken words were reported to be, how should I say this? How should you say this? Like a guy who knows that he's gonna die and he's like trying to pretend like he doesn't regret what he did.
Kiss my ass.
Sure about that?
Yeah.
In the hours leading up to Gacy's execution, a crowd estimated at over 1,000 people, so more than the people who showed up for Donald Trump's inauguration, gathered outside the correctional center. A vocal majority were in favor of the execution, although a number of anti-death penalty protesters were also present. Some of those in favor of the execution wore T-shirts hearkening to Gacy's previous community services as a clown and bearing satirical slogans such as "No tears for the clown." The anti-death penalty protesters present observed a silent candlelight vigil. After Gacy's death was confirmed at 12:58 a.m. on May 10th, 1994, his brain was removed.
Oh.
It is in the possession of Helen Morrison, a witness for the defense at Gacy's trial, who has interviewed Gacy and other serial killers in an attempt to isolate common personality traits of violent sociopaths. His body was cremated. In the months following Gacy's execution, many of his paintings were auctioned. Some were bought so that they could be destroyed in a June 1994 communal bonfire held in Naperville, Illinois, attended by approximately 300 people, including family members of 9 of Gacy's victims. I actually have a friend.
Can you imagine being the person who has his brain?
Oh God, right? Seriously.
That's like horrifying and kind of cool.
It's like impressive and disturbing.
Yeah. just like spending like going to bed every night knowing that you've got John Wayne Gacy's brain like on your fucking mantle or some shit wherever the hell she keeps it.
Like on her nightstand every night. She's just like, good night, John.
Oh, I didn't like that. I did not like that.
Oh God. All right. So that is the story of John Wayne Gacy, aka the Killer Clown. We will do an episode. It's going to be a bonus episode, like we said, about Gacy's employee who ended up becoming a killer himself. And how that fits into the Gacy story and like where we can go with those details. That episode will be available on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Dakota's Beard. And if you enjoyed our show this evening, please go ahead and throw us a couple dollars. I really need to buy a pack of cigarettes, so throw me a couple bucks.
And my birthday was on Saturday.
So. And her birthday was on Saturday. Yeah, exactly. My Patreon or my Venmo is Dakota's Beard. Kate's is Kate Ulrich 42. And next week we are going to be doing the Moores murders. So Ian Brady and Myra Hindley are in for the Kate and Dakota treatment, which basically means we are going to talk a lot of shit about them and drink wine
and be very, very dumb.
That too. And unfortunately, we will not be together next week.
Sadly,
no. I'm going to be in LA, actually. So keep an eye out.
We better make out while we can.
See, we get stupider the more we hang out. It's 100% true.
Yep.
All right, guys. So we will see. Oh God, do we have an episode for Sunday?
I don't know. I won't be here on Sunday, unfortunately.
Where are you?
Work.
Oh, how late do you work?
8:30.
Maybe we'll do a late show.
I don't remember when I work. Oh, I don't work next Monday, so maybe.
Yeah. So Sunday, our episode is going to be a little bit later. So we will post about the content of Sunday's episode, and we will post about when to expect it, at what time on Sunday. It just won't be our normal Sunday time. But until Sunday, say goodnight, Kate.
Good night, Kate.
Good night, and everyone. Just order the regular fucking Coke. Like, honestly. Just order the regular fucking Coke.
Oh, God. Get it while you can.
Seriously. Especially if you're on death row.
Seriously.
And if we have any death row viewers, hi, how are you? What did you do to get there? Let us know in the comments. Bye-bye.